Hi, this is Ella Howard, and in this quick video I'm going to walk you through some of the basics for the first time you come into Brightspace and you're getting ready to set up your class. So what you're looking at here is a course that I have already built for the fall of 2020. This is my Modern American History class. And just to orient you to what we're looking at, up at the top you'll see a white menu bar, and that lets you navigate between classes and gives you the options that refer to the broader context of our Brightspace installation. The black bar, the second bar that you're looking at, this menu is going to navigate you through the inside of this particular class. You can see here a list of the modules that I've created, and what I think would be perhaps more helpful would be to show you a class that we're just getting started with. So here is my fall 2020 Boston History class that I'm just starting to build. The only thing I've really done here is I've gone ahead and set up the banner image, and I did that with the Customize Banner Text and Change Image features. When you click on Change Image, you'll see that there's a pretty wide range of images that are provided for you by Brightspace, or you can upload your own. The image I chose here shows the skyline of our city at night. And then I customized the title text to make it a little more reader-friendly than the default text that you would get on setup. So the first thing that we typically like to do is to go ahead and create some modules. To do that, you want to click on My Course Content, and that takes you to our course building view. Here you can see they give you this helpful welcome message because they know we're all lost at this point. And if you are creating a course from scratch, or if you like to rebuild from the ground up rather than try to do the more complex import process, you just go ahead and click on Add a Module. So we can give our module a title. Once you click Return, then your module will be created. Now, if you choose to add dates, that limits availability inside Brightspace from what I can tell. So that means that your students won't be able to see the module until those dates have appeared. So you can see they have start date, end date, due date. So those didn't really work very well for me. So what I've decided to do is to list dates only in the module titles rather than putting them as a restrictive field. So by Edit Title, I could add here just as an example. So now this module exists and has been created. You can then use the Upload Create button to add new content. So if you want to create a new assignment, you want to create a new discussion, a new quiz, those are the options here, and I'll walk you through doing that in some later videos. If you have items that you've already created, then you would link to them from existing activities. That's what that means. So if you've already built discussions, for instance, and now you want to add them into your module, you would do that with the existing activities feature. One aspect of this that I think is pretty cool in Brightspace that we didn't have in Blackboard is that you can add checklists. So a checklist will allow your students to check off the items within the module as they complete them. Brightspace will also show them a progress and tracking system, but sometimes that can be off. So for instance, I've noticed if I open a folder, it'll tell me that I'm done with it. But of course I'm not. So this will allow our students to manually use that checklist to check things off. It's just for them. It's just for their own progress, their own sense of satisfaction and organization. But I think it's definitely a best practice, particularly in a class like mine that has a lot of moving parts. You can give your checklist an individual title, but you don't have to. I just call mine Module Checklist because it's going to live inside the module. And there's a button down here to save and create. So once you do that, inside the checklist you can have lists. And each of those is basically a subsection of the checklist. And you add a new list. Then by clicking on the title here, List 1, you can rename it. You could call this Videos, and then add a task here where you would type in the task, the video that you want them to watch. So I have not found a way for this to auto-populate from the items that are already in the module, which would seem like a great feature. I'm not sure why Brightspace doesn't seem to do this. I went on some of the forums. It doesn't seem to be there yet. Hopefully they'll do that soon so that we wouldn't have to retype this, because it is a little bit of extra work on our part, but I think it makes a real big difference in how the students perceive the class, and that it will make the class seem a lot more organized to them. So let me show you what this looks like. We'll just skip over to my Modern American History class. I can show you my Reconstruction module. So here you see we've got a lecture link. So I use an online hyperlinked textbook, free open access. So I've just got the link to that here. Below the lecture video, I've got a quiz I wrote for chapter 15. I have video content from Films on Demand, and then I have a discussion board. For students to see this in a more organized way, I created the checklist. So let me show you that in Student View. So you click on your profile up here and go to View as Student. Now we see when they go into the module and they choose the checklist, this is what it'll look like for them. I set this up using the 3 options that our friends in LIT had suggested: read, watch, do. So I went with things for them to read. And here you can see when they finish reading this chapter, they can manually check it off for themselves. And then it'll keep track on this bar for them at the top, letting them know how many of the items they've completed. These are what they should watch: my lecture, the documentary from Films on Demand, and then the tasks they should complete. Here under Do, I chose to create separate entries for discussion post and discussion responses, because in my experience, a lot of students work ahead on the posts and then might forget to come back once other students have posted in that discussion as well, so that there is something to respond to. So this allows them to track that manually on their end.